Hello students, in the last class we have started with the chapter Nutrients and their functions, in which we have done the classification of food and the functions of carbohydrates. Today we'll start with our next nutrient, that is proteins. Proteins are essential nutrients for the human body. They are one of the building blocks of body tissue and can also serve as a fuel source. Approximately 15 to 20% of the human body consists of proteins, which exist in many forms. It is also present in every cell of our body. Now, we'll start with the composition of proteins. Proteins differ from carbohydrates and fat as they contain nitrogen in addition to carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. In some of you contain sulfur, and most of the proteins also contain phosphorus, whereas some specialized proteins contain iron, iodine, copper, and other organic elements also. The energy value of most well balanced diet is usually between 10 to 15% of the total. Proteins are made up of amino acids. Amino acids are of two types, essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are those which cannot be synthesized by the body in the sufficient quantities for growth and maintenance, and therefore they must be supplied as a part of the daily diet. There are 8 essential amino acids. The non-essential amino acids can be synthesized by the body. There are 12 non-essential amino acids found in proteins. The higher the presence of amino acids, the greater the quality of proteins. Now, we'll do the classification of proteins. The structure of each protein is different depending on the presence of amino acids. The most food proteins are composed of 12 to 22 amino acids. Next one is complete proteins. Complete proteins are found in those foods which have all the essential amino acids in significant quantities. The proteins which are having all the essential amino acids are considered to be having high biological value, which means that proteins are easily and completely used by the body without any changes or processes. These are very useful for the body and are absorbed and used by the body in very short time. The source of these complete proteins are animal protein. Second one is partially incomplete proteins. In partial proteins are those proteins which contain amino acids in the proportion that help in maintaining life but does not support growth. In such proteins, the portion of amino acids may vary. A food may not contain one or more essential amino acids. We get these partially incomplete proteins from vegetables. Last one is incomplete proteins. These are found in those foods in which more than two essential amino acids are absent. It is incapable of building and repairing cells, maintaining life, or even supporting growth. Now, we'll start with the functions of protein. Protein helps to retain body structure and composition as it is present in every cell of our body. And 15 to 20% of our human body consists of proteins. It also helps in maintaining the fluid balance within the body. It helps to build and repair tissues in the body. You must have seen doctors advising the patients with burn injury or wound to have good protein diet because it helps in recovery. It is an important part of the blood, that is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin transports oxygen from the lungs to the tissues and brings carbon dioxide from the tissues back to the lungs. It is an important essential component of enzymes, hormones, and regulate many body processes. Enzymes helps in the digestion. hormones are secreted from the glands. For example, thyroid secretes thyroxine, pituitary gland secretes growth hormone. So it is important to release these hormones as they are helpful in the growth. The energy value of protein is 4 calories per gram. It means when 1 gram of protein is oxidized, it gives us 4 calories. Next one is the food sources of protein. Milk, curd, egg, cheese, poultry and fish are the animal sources of protein. Next is vegetable proteins, which we get from cereals, legumes, vegetables, groundnuts and oilseeds. If we are not having enough of carbohydrates in our diet, the proteins get metabolized to provide the needed energy. However, in case of fasting or starvation, both carbohydrates and proteins are required for the energy as they are needed for the functions of our body and organ systems. This also causes deficiency diseases, which is protein energy malnutrition, also known as PEM. It is a complex disorder which arises from the deficiency of both the essential nutrients, that is carbohydrates and proteins. Protein energy malnutrition is a lack or deficiency of energy as well as proteins in the diet, as these nutrients are provided by basic food groups like cereals, pulses, roots, and tubers. It is mostly occurred in underdeveloped countries and in children of poor economic group who cannot afford to have basic food necessities, and it usually arises from starvation and constant hunger. If carbohydrates are deficient, proteins are used for energy. But if both are deficient, the health of the individual will deteriorate and it lead to many diseases. The children with PEM are prone to infections and other deficiency diseases. They are quite retarded in growth and development. However, other symptoms may vary with age and conditions of the child. An acute deficiency of both energy and protein results in marasmus, which is also known as nutritional marasmus, whereas a severe deficiency of protein and energy intake may result in Khashoggi. Both of these conditions are serious, but the Kwashiorkor is the more serious one because it can cause the quick death of a child if deficiency continues. But if timely medical care is provided, the recovery is also faster. Now we'll discuss the deficiency diseases in detail, that is Kwashiorkor and marasmus. Is more likely to develop in children under 1 year of age when breastfeeding fails or is not carried out for sufficient period of time. Even if they are not having suitable foods for weaning, they suffer from this disease. It is more prevalent in babies of undernourished mothers as they cannot usually produce enough of the milk for the baby, and this keeps the baby hungry and undernourished. Children with nutritional marasmus show the symptoms like absence of subcutaneous fat and muscle wasting. They have diminished height and length, and they are showing big head, protruding eyes, wrinkled face like the elders, tiny body, dull and dry hair. They are having dehydration because of acute watery diarrhea. They also show subnormal temperature and low pulse rate. They show continuous feeling of hunger. Now we'll talk about the Kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor is caused by severe protein energy deficiency. In serious condition, it may result into an infectious disease. Kwashiorkor is generally found in the areas where starchy foods, especially root and tubers, are used as staple diet instead of cereals. Although cereal grains are better source of protein, but many grains do not have sufficient amount of good quality protein, and they are not considered to be good feeding foods when milk is not available. It generally occurs in the children of age 1 to 5 years. Kwashiorkor causes imbalance in salts and electrolytes in the digestive system, which causes water retention and swelling in the stomach. The child becomes miserable. The color of the skin and hair may also be changed. Now, we will discuss the treatment of the above discussed diseases. To overcome the problems, the children must be supplied with liquid diet of good quality protein, calories, vitamins, and electrolytes, but it should be slowly given to the child. If child can tolerate the fat, a mixture of milk powder, edible oil, pulses, and vegetables should be given. It is also safe to use sterilized bottles for feeding the child. In India, we can give the cheap supplementary foods which are rich in nutrients like dalia, khichdi, green gram, and puffed rice, which are cheap and easy to prepare and considered to be supplementary foods. So, students, today we have discussed the proteins in detail, their functions, classification, deficiency diseases, and how to treat them. In the next class, we will be doing fats and other nutrients. Thank you.